Welcome to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman and I am your host. Today we have some wonderful and talented guests joining us who are a part of a Western film called The Lonesome Trail. With me I have the director, actually she's an award-winning writer, director, producer, and wears many other hats. Please welcome Arlette Thomas-Fletcher. And next to her is Kelly Schwartz, who is a very beautiful and talented actress who has been in one of Michael Marino's films, or more like a TV series, I guess, Dracula.
Correct.
And then behind Kelly is Lamont Easter, who probably looks pretty familiar to you, or may look very familiar to you, as he's been on TV shows such as Veep, Madam Secretary, and
House of Cards.
House of Cards, which is very popular. And then we have the very talented and wonderful Colin McHugh, who is a stage and film actor and is also a filmmaker, I understand. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Good.
How about you?
I'm great.
Good.
So how did you guys, you are the writer of The Lonesome Trail. What made you write a Western? Because you don't see many Westerns, you know, especially like in indie films or, you know, even in mainstream.
And you don't really see many done by women.
Exactly.
First of all, I love Westerns. So it was inspired by Tombstone. I watched Tombstone and I love different Westerns, but Tombstone kind of really, with Val Kilmer, and where he says, you know, I'm your Huckleberry. And, you know, I really was, you know, into watching it with my family one day. And I just told him, I said, you know, I really would like to write a Western. And, you know, I just decided to write it. And, you know, I started writing it. And it started out as a short film and turned into a feature film. And because I've done a lot of short films, I thought I could do it as a short film and it wouldn't be so expensive because it's a period piece. But I just kept writing. The story was very exciting and it developed into a feature film.
Okay. Well, before we get more into the movie, let's talk about each of you, but I want to hit on you first here. So when you started writing, do you write like your day and night, just writing until you're done, or do you like take time and think about what you're putting into the story?
Well, it all depends. With this story, I actually started writing it and finished the first 30 pages that night.
Oh, wow.
Because it was hot. It was like, you know, Tombstone was really, really great, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really, I'm gonna just, you know, sit here and write it. And I sat right there and I typed it on my computer, and, you know, I got like 30 pages in, and then I let my sons and my husband read it, and they, you know, and men, you know, usually like Westerns.
Sure.
So that when they said, oh, this is good, and I was like, really? I said, okay. So I'm going to write some more. And they were like, yeah, you should. And I said, okay. So usually when I do write, I try to write until I'm finished. If you know, I devote a certain amount of time to put in it. But with The Lonesome Trail, I started writing it, and then I came back to it and came back to it and came back to it because one of the things that I wanted to do was develop the characters. And to me, as a writer, story is king. Story is so important. Production quality is important, but story is very important. I mean, nobody wants to just watch something and, you know, there's no connection between the characters.
Sure.
So I really wanted to make sure that the characters were connected and they had relationships.
Okay. Now, let's, you know, as short as possible because we only have so much time, but you wear many, many hats as writer, director, producer, songwriter, singer, you've done music videos, won awards. What else do you do?
Wow.
And let's talk about, you know, mention your production company and
Well, we do music videos,
Okay.
short films. As a matter of fact, I did a short Western music video because I wanted to get a feel for doing a period Western before I did the Western.
Okay.
I wanted to see what it would be like. I mean, we had some horses, and we had, you know, everybody was in the period costumes, and we were in that town working as a, you know, music video. And when we did it, I said, well, you know, this is not going to be bad to do. I mean, you know, because taking on a period piece is really an ambitious undertaking.
Right,
so I really was concerned about it, and I said I don't want it to be a runaway train where, you know, you just run out of money and then you can't finish.
Right, right. So we'll come back to the film, okay? Because I have like so many questions about it.
Okay.
So Kelly, how did you get started in acting?
So I've always loved acting ever since I was a little girl. I'm an only child, so I really had to use my imagination to entertain myself. I think the first time I remember performing, I was like 6 or 7, and I used to put on fashion shows for my parents. And then in between outfit changes, I would make up commercials.
Sure.
Anything I could find in the house, like peanut butter, laundry detergent, whatever. I would just make up commercials and just like basically pretend like it was a show. So that's where it all got started.
Okay.
And then in high school and college, I was really involved in theater and acting competitions. And then after school, I always wanted to move to LA, but I just didn't have the nerve back then. So the practical, responsible part of me just went into corporate America, and I put my acting career on hold for a pretty long time.
Okay.
Moved to New York, moved here to go to graduate school, became a consultant. But over the years, I found myself just more and more daydreaming in my office about what it would be like to be an actress, and if I was really doing what I wanted to do with my life. So fast forward to about 3 years ago, after my second son was born, I told myself, you know what, stop dreaming about it, just go out there and do it. So I've been doing as much as I can the last 3 years.
That's awesome.
It's been great.
So, and a few of the films that you've done are The Summer of Hope. Is that one of them?
We're still shooting it.
Okay,
The Summer of Hope. I just did a film last week called Rejection, which is a feature film, my second feature film. I've done a couple of short films, a couple of TV shows, and I've been lucky enough to I think I've done over 20 commercials now too.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And,
okay, so you may look familiar to a lot of people too.
Yeah, I'm actually in like 4 commercials in Maryland right now, but I live in Virginia, so I never get to see them. But and people tell me like once a week, oh, I saw you in a commercial, so that's kind of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Lamont, let's you've got like a huge book-long list of what your acting career, and a nice little website, or not a nice big website. So let's hear about you.
Thank you. My story is, I think, a little bit different. I guess maybe about 3.5, 4 years ago, I kind of fell into acting accidentally. Started off doing some print work, and then it led to some commercial work, and now I'm doing numerous independent films, a lot of commercial work. Kelly and I have done some work together. So really, it's just really taken off over the last few years. Prior to that, I never thought of being formally in the entertainment industry. I've always been I guess an actor all my life. So.
You're always performing.
Now, exactly, just applying a little technique to it now. But yeah.
So it's a gratifying experience for you. And,
yes, it's been great.
Do people come up and say, "Put your sunglasses on so I can recognize you better"?
Not quite, but I tend to get a lot of Secret Service type.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's why.
But that's okay. That's an okay typecast as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, that's great that the jobs that you've landed in such a short period of time.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of actors that are, a lot of struggling actors out there.
This is an incredible time for creative people in this industry with the internet and the new media delivery methods. There's not enough content, so it's just exploding. So this is an incredible time to be in this industry.
Right, and in this area.
There's plenty of work.
In this area, between Baltimore and D.C., definitely. So. Okay, your turn. Mr. Filmmaker, actor.
Yes. Well, Lonesome Trail was really kicked off my last year. I did a feature film, worked on that with everyone last summer. Since then, I've done 6 television shows and 3 shorts. 2 of the shorts have been very successful. One won Best Film in a Southern Maryland Film Festival, and another one was nominated top 5 out of thousands of shorts at Universal Studios out west, and nominated for Best Drama. So that was really cool.
And I'll go ahead and say he won't. People's Choice. He won
Yeah.
People's Choice as the Best Actor.
That's
I
awesome.
have a couple other projects of my own in the early stages of pre-development, so no point of actually going into those just
Right.
yet.
Yeah, we'll have to bring you back for another
Yeah.
show. We'll talk about that.
But,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like we've all probably blossomed so much in this
Yeah.
last year. It's been a year since this project, and I owe a lot to it, and I've learned so much what to do, what not to do, and have become definitely the actor I am because of every project you do, but this one especially.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And you guys have a great cast. I mean, I looked on the IMDb and saw a lot of familiar names, people that I know.
Yeah, they were all great people.
Yeah,
Wonderful
yeah,
to
Johnny
work with.
Alonso.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love him. He is so wonderful. Everybody was just great, very professional.
Okay. So, so you wrote the story, you did the short film, and then once you got it into a full-length feature, what was next? You had to go...
Pre-production.
Okay.
We had to plan everything out. Look at, we had the location because we used a location that was already built for a film called Day of the Gun, which is really done well, which they were picked up by, I think, Walmart, and they did very well. The film, we were really blessed to get that location and to make it our own. We all were on the set painting and doing things on the set.
Wow.
Yeah, they came and they helped out, and it was really great. We were, we had a lot of fun, working on it, and then in pre-production, we kind of had to, get our costumes and plan out, the budget and dealing with all of the, the incidentals that we would have to have, with the catering, and a lot of, it's indie film, so
Sure.
A catering consists of sometimes a caterer, sometimes it consists of going to Costco. So that's indie film. So so that planning portion of it we had to go through, and once we got the planning done and we started casting, some people I had already planned to use for various roles. As you can see, Lamont has made an impression on everyone in the room. So he made an impression on me at a meeting that we had, and I thought he would be good for the role. I auditioned Kelly, and I came to know Colin through another actor, and he auditioned for me, and they were great to work with. He was perfect for the role of Jonah, and we had such a good cast. The hardest person to cast was the preacher. We had him cast, and then different things kept happening with that lead role. Then, finally I was able to cast Peter Ray, which, he was fabulous.
Oh, good.
So.
And I think another interesting thing, we shot, as Arlette was mentioning, on a set in Joplin, Maryland, probably the only Jessup, Maryland, probably the only Western set in the Mid-Atlantic. And it's on Shipley Farm, and it's a Western set. And the reason I say that is because you were talking about post-production, some of the first steps. It had to be unwinterized through the winter. So you have this set out in the open, all the elements and the woods getting beat. And so we came in and we all had to clean up and get rid of leaves and paint and everything. And that was a fun bonding experience even before we started working on the script
the
part.
camaraderie that we had, it kind of sealed us as a crew and a cast. Just cutting up and having a good time before we actually started shooting, and getting to know each other. And
So, note to self: next film, put them to work first.
Yes.
Do bonding.
Well, a lot of them volunteered, and I was really surprised.
I surprised myself.
Because they a couple of them said, "Well, is there anything that I can do to help?" And I was like, well, we really do need help. Are you serious?
Actually, yes, there is.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah. And they came and they worked and, helped out. And they actually could work too.
Wow. What do you know?
Yeah, I mean, actually could use a hammer.
The actors
and-
around here are useful.
yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, it was really great.
That's awesome. So we haven't talked about what this actual story is about, but I know you don't want to give it all away, but can you just give, a little sneak peek or what,
Well, sure. I mean, the Lonesome Trail, the title kind of is tells you a little bit about the story. There's this town in the Midwest, the Old West actually, in this fictitious place called Red Springs. And Mike McCrae is the man who is the big landowner in this town. And you'll see in the town, it'll say McCrae Mining, everything's McCrae.
Right.
And McCrae really, he feels like, he has a great town and it's bustling and it's doing very well. And we have this missionary in the town, Sister Frances, who goes through the town telling people to repent for their souls. And oftentimes, she goes by the saloon because that's where the sinners are.
Right.
And it's really exciting because when she goes and she's trying to get these people to repent, and before they go, she's like trying to get them to get themselves together, and they're making fun of her and mocking her. So she writes a letter to try and get a preacher to come in to the town to clean up these sinners and get them together. And she's shocked that she actually gets a response. And the preacher comes to the town. He's coming from Boston, and he comes to Red Springs. And she's so excited that he's coming to the town. But unbeknownst to her, she has brought someone into the town that is going to change the entire fabric of the town. The town's never going to be the same. And she's brought somebody into the town that McCrae is not going to like. So she's basically started a feud between these two people because McCrae, he is the person that is important in this town, and he doesn't want anybody else coming into this town. And then, there are homesteaders, during this time, they had the Homestead Act, and there are homesteaders coming into the town, and McCrae doesn't like the homesteaders coming into the town. And, the preacher, when he comes into the town, he actually helps the homesteaders to actually get land in the town. Before, they weren't able to get, their land plats, and be able to purchase the land and get everything put through. But the preacher, he knows all these things and he's able to do it. So he has these run-ins with McCrae because McCrae is really not happy about the fact that these people are coming, these foreigners, and he calls them outlanders because, he feels like, they are people that don't belong in Red Springs. So he's not really a likable person, this McCrae. But he loves her character and basically really feels like she's going to be the person that he's going to marry. She's going to be Mrs. McCrae. Unbeknownst to him, it's not really going to happen.
Right.
And that creates more anger and fury in McCrae. So McCrae's not a happy man. He really isn't. And he does some things in the town, and then we have, poor, this character, Bill Barnaby, who Lamont plays, who is so innocent coming into the town, and he's just coming into the town because, his wagon wheel, they need to see a blacksmith, and he's thinking, well, he gets into the town and he's going to get some help, and he's not getting the help he thinks he's going to get. He's getting something else.
Right.
And then you have the son, Jonah, who pretty much really admired his father and looked up to his father, but as life is going on, things happen to change the way Jonah sees his dad. And it's a story of relationship, of romance. There is some racism in the story. There are some situations of tension, but it's kind of a drama, but then it's also funny in parts. It's a fun story, but it will tug at your heartstrings.
Okay, well, it sounds really exciting. Sounds really good. So,
There's gunfire too, and a lot of horses.
A lot of horses.
My character had to learn to ride a stagecoach, drive a stagecoach.
wow.
Yeah.
I learned to ride a horse for this film.
Yeah, they had horseback riding lessons.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. So, how long did it take to film?
Well, because I have a full-time job as well. We shot this mainly on the weekend, so it took us 4 months.
Oh, wow, wow. And everybody was really committed and able to
These
come out
people
this
were
way.
committed to doing this.
I mean, coming from Virginia to
Yeah.
Jessup, Maryland?
Yeah.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
also shot in Pennsylvania a
Yeah,
couple
we
times.
shot
Oh, wow.
Pennsylvania. We went to because we wanted the production value to be really good.
Sure.
So we shot in Pennsylvania because we were able to get the kind of horses that we needed. These beautiful horses in the wagons.
Were they
and-
Amish?
Oh no, it wasn't. But the farm was really beautiful, and we were able to get, there were bodies of water that we were able to use,
Okay.
and different things for the backdrop of the film.
Now, did you have to do this like in the spring or the fall or when the weather was nice?
We started shooting, I think it was in June.
It was May 2nd.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was May.
May
You
2nd.
remember the exact date?
It was the first
We
day.
started
Yes.
shooting in May then, and we shot from May all the way through August.
Oh, wow.
Labor Day
August, yep.
Okay.
Was the last.
Wow.
Yeah,
Labor
all the
Day
way through.
weekend.
Yeah, we had some discussions about it before we did it, but we did it.
Okay. Oh, well, at least you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
You
did
it. Wow, it sounds like absolutely amazing. So, what were the challenges along the way?
I think the greatest challenges were the horses, but one of the other challenges was for our DP, because he was also our visual effects supervisor. His name is Craig Herron, and Craig Herron is the one who actually was the production design of the town.
Oh, wow.
He created the town, and he's the one who is doing the visual effects. So our town that we have, that is the physical town that you see, is one town, but then we have a bigger town that will be created through the visual effects.
Sure,
and
sure.
he's the one doing that. I think that the hardest part was 75% of our film was visual effects, and
wow.
he had to say to the actors, look, I need you to stand this way so
Right.
I can be able to get this on green screen, and I need you to be here because this part of the town is there, and them knowing, okay, so is this where the school's gonna
Yeah.
be?
Right,
Because she was the
yeah.
school mom,
Yeah.
so is this
Like,
where
the
the
school's
school's
this
gonna
way.
be? And then
I live this
okay, you're guiding the horses this way, Lamont, but this is the way you're going to have to go because this, on this side of the town is where the other stores are. Even though you see the stores here, we're shooting you this way so we can be able to fill this in,
Right,
and being
right.
able to know the direction you're supposed to go in. Like when Colin was riding the horse, you're going up the road, but on this side of the road, this is where you live, and this is where the Barnabys live. So the part of it that was, I think, the most difficult was kind of those things,
Kind of
knowing,
visualizing what those things were.
Yeah.
I would venture to say the hardest part is doing a stunt and trying to avoid getting poison ivy. That's what I would say. Wouldn't you say? It happened.
Three of us
Wait.
had poison ivy.
We
One
were
worse
on
than
a
the next, worse than
farm.
the next.
We were
I had
on
the
a
least.
farm.
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
know what poison ivy looks like now.
Yes, it can screw up continuity when you're shooting because this week you
Yeah.
don't look the same because
I
now
came
you have.
in complaining about just the barely any on my arm, and Peter
Peter.
played my father and the preacher,
Yes.
and all over his body.
He
He
was
just
a
looked
true
like, shut up!
Yeah.
But the shot looked great.
It did look great.
It fit his character.
It did.
Wow.
It did.
So, when do you plan for this to be? I mean, because it's right now in post-production.
Yeah.
When do you plan for it to be pretty final?
Trailer
Well,
coming pretty soon, right?
The trailer will be coming out hopefully next week.
Oh.
We're working towards being able to have it out by next weekend.
Okay, and that'll go on what websites?
It'll be on the Fruits of the Spirit Productions website. It'll be on the Lonesome Trail Facebook page as well as the website. It also will be on YouTube as well, and probably Vimeo. It'll probably be on
Vimeo.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, Vimeo.
Okay.
The thing about our film is because it's so much visual effects, that's what's taking it so long.
Sure.
So he's basically creating everything. So we're hoping, and I hate to say this because it's not written in stone, we're hoping that we'll be able to actually have a premiere in the spring. That's
awesome.
our goal.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end.
Oh.
We've run out of time, but thank you so much for coming on the
It's been
show.
great
for having
I
us.
can't wait
Yeah.
to see the Lonesome Trail. And your websites again.
www.fruitsofthespiritproductions.com.
Okay.
And
TheLonesomeTrail.com.
actually, it's not thelonesometrail.com, but I did send you the links, so you can put the links up at the end of the program.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
I'm sure if anybody's interested, they can IMDb these people. And if you're just tuning into the show, make sure you catch us on the web at www.potluck-online.org. And we'll see you next time.